Hold your head up, it's kasi sa spigile. The time is now today. Kuzoba mnandi, the feeling's getting stronger. The world is yours to play. It's the 100%.
100% talk for 100% people. Hello, eThekwini Ninjani. Welcome once again to this episode of the 100% Talk Show. You know what it is. It is the program that always gives you 100% talk for you 100% real people. And today we are coming to you from Musgrave Center. And as always, you know we've got guests that are absolutely amazing. And today is no different. And coming back in the new year are our sponsors. So we want to just give a huge shout out to them. You all know them by now. I'm sure you do. So thank you very much to all our sponsors. And so I'm going to introduce today's guest, Namhlanje. He is an amazing, dynamic man of business, of forward thinking, of Black consciousness. Really, he is a guy that I'm hoping we're going to have an amazing conversation with. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Lindani Hlongwane. Hi. I'm good. Thank you so much for coming through today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. It's wonderful that you that you honored our invite.
Yes.
So we're going to have an amazing conversation with you, I hope.
We will.
Yes, I've got a couple of things that I'm going to ask you.
But scared, but yeah.
No, don't be scared. But before we go there, okay, some of us might not know who you are. Angazi ubani out there. Ongamazi uLindani. But let us know a little bit about yourself. Oh, Lindani, where are you from? Where did you grow up? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, uLindani or Hlongwane, born and bred Durban, KZN. Done a bit of traveling, but grew up in a number of areas, KwaMashu being one of the areas, a bit of Umlazi at some stage as well, predominantly the Durban North area. Went to school within the area at Durban North, nationally, northwards, and the likes. Then completed my matric, went to eThekwini College, and I also studied a med course. Thereafter, I've worked for a number of companies. I've never really been loyal to these big corporates, but my main aim was to go in there, gain the experience, the technical know-how, and leave. A few years ago, stepped out of the space of corporates and into the space of entrepreneurship.
Right.
And that's where I am today. I dabble in the diesel space. I also dabble in the manufacturing and agricultural space.
What I wanted to know from you, Lindani, is you did a lot of work into researching into the township economy specifically, right? What is the difference between township economy and normal economy, mainstream economy?
Let's maybe look at it as formal and informal, because I think that's what they call it.
Okay.
The formal economy is your areas like this, Musgrave. There's shops, there's people working in shops, there's companies, there's all of that. There's just tax paying, there's bank accounts, and then you get into the space of a township or a logish. There's no bank accounts. It's a transaction. Tatama igwinya
right.
Yeah. So it's the barometer is not there. You can't measure what would see the township economy in Gaganani because you've got a whole lot of people. And it's an ecosystem that not too many people understand. Because you'll find, I would say, in the urban area, I'm not like identify. It's umshid. Ole ndiyadayisa sidlula umfana uphethe inqola unika imali umphathele amazambane nokuthi adlule umfana inqola yakhe kulolandelayo usene-odd. He's becoming some sort of a logistic service to the people that are there because they cannot leave. He's picked up that mama badayisayo mesuka lapho the cash flow is stopped. So they've also recognized that. So just before they get to that space of running out of their goods, find humble time. I think we've had a conversation before where even in the township area, the quantities are not the same. People can buy for 2 rand, 5 rand, and you can't go to Spar with 2 rand. Go 20, 30 rand or peggy for it also accommodates for the people that are in that area because of the buying power. So the buying power is not that great in Amalogi issue, but the quantity is high. If you look at maybe the taxi industry, taxi yahamba, yasebenza, yalayisha, yawenda mama, iniga uona wa drive imali. Whether he banks it or not, it's completely up to him. We can't register as to how much he made that day. Yeah, well, so that's what makes it a bit informal. So hence why the tax is very hard, because you can't measure with Lomundu how much money are they making in order to find the percentage of tax that should be paid. Yeah, well.
And is there any disadvantage? Well, I'm sure there are. Maybe you're going to outline rather for us the disadvantages of not having that proper structured system in terms of township economy.
I think because township businesses are inherited. Yeah, well. And even when they initiated the business, they themselves didn't quantify as to how big they want to make this business. Hence why Mobuga, other organizations you find in Cape Town, Joburg, they've now started branching out into other areas. But I'm township businesses, they always, down the road has always been there. And one of the things that keeps them there is the fact that they are not registering the revenue that is generated. So when you register, you can plan. My business has a total of 100 rand, argument's sake. 100 rand of one 20 rand or 80
That's
rand.
a very important element.
Our business. So 20 rand, that's where I'm supposed to be playing. But what they do is, I'd say, 9 rand or 50 rand, I'll start to 50 rand. So I would say it stops to the hence why you get there, go call sometimes or go call.
I want to go into what businesses that you're into right now briefly. But I think by way of that, I'd like you to outline, maybe in your opinion, what are some of the opportunities that exist currently, like large scale opportunities?
Because these big businesses have been there in existence for centuries, some of them, or decades. EBBE then says, let's level the grounds. You've got 50 years ahead of me already. You've got 50 bars ahead of me already. You can't expect me to compete with you. It's completely unfair. And the fact that the government that you grew up in allowed you to flourish, they invested in you. Every time you drop the ball, they helped you pick it up. So it's only fair now that you allow others to also benefit from what you have done. So you need a person to say, always say, access we got. I'd say, okay, so the staff, send your in 7 days' time, because I know you need to pay your staff. Those are the opportunities that people need. Financial at times, yes, but monitored. So the space of diesel is biodiesel, renewable energy. So what we do is we are contracted by, we are about to get contracted by 2 companies that are global, to take their UCO, which is used cooking oil, and convert that to
cooking oil, cooking
whatever cooking oil, whether olive or sunflower or whatever. We take that and then we it's a plug and play system, put into our equipment, and then it converts itself to diesel. So there's 2 elements to our business. So that we have purchased the equipment, we've done everything. We're about to sign the contract. The client is saying, first put up your structures, right? It's not something that is very easy to do and the COVID really insisted, because of Zoom, Teams, we are in meetings all over the world on one platform. And there's one of the social impacts that we do. So we have farmers. I wanna in our rural areas, I'm a farm. There's a plant that we have which is called Solaris. It's a nicotine-free tobacco. We take that and we squeeze the oil out of the buds on the stem of that. We take that oil, like your cooking oil, and we convert it to biodiesel.
What?
So we say, we will give you the seed. We will train you on how to, because it's not just any, in the ground and then just expect it. We give you the seed, you plant. We've trained you, obviously, at that stage. So there's a 12-month learnership that we're going to be putting them through as of next year, June. So they plant, and then after planting, we help them harvest. We take whatever it is that they have, and we pay them for it. So there's a large amount of protein in Lokuzana. Once we've squeezed it, there's protein. So the byproducts of that is pulp, which is paper. We've already spoken to a paper-making organization in South Africa to say, once we have this,
squeeze the thing and then
we need to give it to somebody. But it's the stem that they need, because that's what is pulp. And then the leaves from that are going to be crushed and given to your chicken farms, your cattle farms.
For feed.
Yes.
Right.
But if umuntu wants to plug and play, we don't have a platform right now where we say, go to this. But I'm more than willing for a bang in box or Lindani Hlongwane and every platform. Yeah.
And I wanted us to talk, Lindani, I think maybe this being one of them. But what are some of, in your experience, the low-hanging fruits, right?
Yeah.
That youth can participate in now, like right now. And especially, I think, let's talk around even during, sort of post this, but during very much so, COVID-19.
Okay. So I think firstly, we need to understand that it all boils down to economics. In the gist of any business career, it's about the economy. You need to understand the economy that you're in and be able to then
Sure.
everything is about the value chain. And you need to understand what's the value chain. There's something called an aggregator in SA.
Yeah.
Almost all businesses are aggregated. So what happens is Uber's the easiest. Uber, on a platform, on a solution. I'd say, on a platform, client
Sure.
Ngoba cannot go out and find the volumes of people. I can. So he's plugged himself into an environment where he says, let's see what Fagala. When we down from point A to point B, now Fagala. Essence of your kid like me. So that's, if you look at the national brand, the Clover is an aggregator.
Right.
Clover aganango. Clover we are farmers anengo.
That is news to me. Yeah.
Yes. Athi bona ngizodinga volume engaka. I need 1,000 liters of milk every month from you. So let's break it down by 30 days. So every day was a X amount of volumes. So what Clover does then is he sends a truck to Lama farmers. Lord says, keep 1,000 liters a day. Kulo 1,000 liters like your truck in esiyago Clover. Clover unani une custom. Une custom. Uno pick and pay, uno spa, uno bar.
Then how different is that for me, Giham in China, it's saying is the Windsor days in South Africa. Am I an aggregator?
I wouldn't call you an aggregator.
Yeah.
Aggregator, you need volume.
Right.
So if you have 10 people that go to China, and then you have a client who says, I need $easy in China in volume.
And is there like an aggregator place where people can go and be like, I've got millies or whatever. Can I just go to a person and approach them and be like, I've got millies. Do you need whatever? Like, can I add to your volumes that you are giving to the customer, the client?
So if you will allow, it tends to get very racial in that space.
Right.
So
but it does exist though.
It does exist.
But obviously to access it is a bit of a tricky thing.
Yeah, but you can't just go www.
.aggregator. .fineman.aggregator.co.za.
The aggregators find you.
Okay. So now I'm hearing that aggregation system, right?
And when you're there, don't do this thing esiyenza sabantu bamnyama where mhlawumbe sengiredile ke farm lakho kodwa yabonza ngene phuma ama truck la usumanje uthi mina hayibo kanti bona wenza malini wena yabo stay in your lane. You're a farmer. Don't now try and go and be an agronomist on your own, because then it starts to complicate the whole thing and you impact not only me but everybody that is in this ecosystem. And that's the problem that we have. We are figuring we'll partner. Me and you, we will do X. Uthi musuwenza X abona ukuthi lo 50 rand ofana nowakho owutholayo. Nowakho ngathi subovu kakhulu manje. Sengifuna wena uthi usanga 30 mina ngithanda 70.
And I think Lindani, we didn't know that there were so many pieces of the pie.
Yeah.
And so I think knowing that there are actually many cakes really, that you can cut as much of a piece as you can. Yeah. How do we create our own
ecosystems?
Yes. Let's probably take a product, right? So that we can actually have an example for the people that will there. Let's take Amakuinya.
Yeah. Yes.
It okay, cool.
So it is we must understand where we participate as Abadabamnyama guys is at the very end of every ecosystem. You need to understand that the taxi manufacturing organization or OEM, the original equipment manufacturer, is an assembly of AMA parts in order for them to put a brand on a vehicle for them to give to us. So e-fender came from another company. E-steering from another. The brake pad, everything in this vehicle has been bought from somewhere. Yes? And that's where the contracts lie. You must know, that's not 1 or 2 or 3 parts. That's a couple hundred parts that go into
one taxi.
Right. That's a couple hundred companies. As a journalist, say, Tata, see if I'm going to this collector 10 rand. Come in the month, I've not heard of anybody making more than 20K for me tax. The installments at tax is 15,000. And then when you driver say bulali on screen, when the back to the value chain, or say thing on screen, but I know. The taxi industry needs to come together and fight for their position in the value chain.
And this is the value chain to produce the product, which is the taxi.
The entire value chain.
Right.
Because either production or post-production. So in that fight, they need to say, I will buy taxis, I will continue buying these taxis from you, but I want to be a part of making this taxi. We need to go to these big companies and tell them, where Coca-Cola is Valo Sako. Because we're such consumers, we only see Coke on the shelf, or we only see, and our relationship with that product is a transaction. When I've got the cool drink or whatever it is, and that's the end of our relationship. So that's when I started now having a conversation with myself. I would say, you need to ask yourself those questions. I would say, who's the figure there? And that's where you start to learn to follow the money. Because it didn't just boom here in the shelf.
Right.
Someone brought it here. And I was like, oh, there's a logistics element to it. Okay. I went into the logistics. I'm like, what? And when you get to the very end of the value chain, there's always land. There's always land. The numbers. We underestimate numbers.
Yes. And I think it goes back to the thing as look
yeah.
What do we do?
So there must be, this knowledge must be shared. But abafundi finance. Business like a business. A community service. And then from there, and you 6 or that shouldn't scare you because it's something that's possible. Transcends. About 35,000 pounds bag. We need to go back now to a luxury and start educating people. It doesn't have to be on a platform. We should train of thought. And that's the black consciousness. When you say, no man, I don't deserve 350 years on. It's even below, it's even below the gazetted minimum wage. It's not right, but because we come to he feels blessed.
Awesome, Lindani. How do we get a hold of you? Do we get a hold of you, or you're on the socials? Let the people know once again how can we interact with you.
Okay, so on socials, I am on all platforms.
Yes.
I understand. Sorry, I'm going to start talking again. I'm sorry. I'm on platforms that LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, I'm on all of them. On every platform, we live that song.
Right.
Every platform.
Awesome. Lindani Hlongwane, everybody, that was awesome, Lindani. Thank you so much. Thank you once again for coming. It has been absolutely reviving and energizing. And thank you to you too, eThekwini, for always tuning in. Thank you so very much for watching the 100% Talk Show. Thank you for all your comments, likes, shares, and subscribes. Please do continue. It does not go unnoticed. And thank you so much for all your inboxes. And as you've seen, we've been responding and interacting with you. We love that. It's so absolutely amazing. Do keep them coming. But don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel so you can be able to see this and all other episodes that we do have for you. So my name, as always, is Lindani Hlongwane.